Hey YouTube. Oh man, I'm tired. I've been working really hard. Hard work is really what it is. Hard work. Man, I be grinding until I can't grind no more. I mean, I'm healthy, I'm young. You gotta make best use of what you got. I mean, you ain't gonna be healthy and young forever, so why not be productive and do something with yourself, make money. That's what health and youth equals, money, because you got the body and you got the energy to do what you need to do to build, your fortune over time. So, but enough of that. This video is going to be about part 2 of abandonment issues, along with disassociation, to where it's like people kind of like, they might come off as being cold-hearted people, but it's not that they cold-hearted. They just just been abandoned, so they don't know how to have feelings to things like that. But before I jump into that topic, once again, I want to try to add sceneries that can kind of offset the depressing topic that I may end up talking about, because obviously dealing with something about abandonment, because I've dealt with it myself, that doesn't feel good. So I just want to kind of show y'all the scenery. Like I said, that young lady said she wanted to see things because she's always in her office all the time. This ain't much of a sight, but it's a sight. Basically, it is a sight, a work site. This is Pennsylvania. Matter of fact, what part of PA is this? This is Bloomsburg, PA. It's so pretty around here too. Matter of fact, let me see if I can get the view of the mountains. Can y'all see those mountains? Like, around this part is nothing but mountains. I don't know if I can see or sit on those chairs over there. I don't know if that's meant for people to sit. Really, I don't even know if, the shipper said I could park here, but I see signs where it say like customer parking only. So, but I don't want to lose y'all, so let me get back on topic. So hopefully they won't say nothing to me, but matter of fact, I can do my earthing right now. Put my little funky feet in this grass. Just take a little seat. Matter of fact, remember some dandelions? They say that dandelions are actually healthy for you. Like, if you got a clean garden that these is growing in, and you can grow them clean, and you pick enough of them to where you clean them up, you can actually eat these, and these supposed to have a variety of benefits, dandelions. But yeah, let's get into the topic. So like I said, part 2 of just dealing with abandonment issues. Like, I want to add disassociation to it as well, because like, a lot of times people might have had parents or situations to where they might have like I said, they might have had parents that didn't show the love or attention that they needed. So a lot of times as young kids, kids need protection because they're not old enough to protect themselves. So they say from infant up until the child is about 5, they should be getting the nurturing. That is the most important time for a child to bond, especially with the mother. Like, a mom and a dad is very, very important, but the bond with the mother is the most important of all, because most kids really want that bond with their mom. And if the mom can't give it, give the love and affection, maybe because maybe she might have had postpartum depression. Like, postpartum depression is pregnant women that might have had kids, and for some reason she don't have no kind of emotional attachment to the child, and it can get so bad to the point to where she'll end up resenting the child. So she might not hold the baby, or she might not give the love that she might even neglect the child, and that's not good. That's why a lot of times if a woman that's about to have a baby, if she's feeling really down and out or detached from her child, she need to get counseling immediately, or have a good support system to help her through that. Because even though women go through postpartum depression, they can come out of that. That's not something that is permanent. It's just a hormonal imbalance to where it probably takes some time for her hormones to get back on an even playing field, to where she can get back to normal again. But like I was saying before, like I said, it's hard because kids need that nurturing, and you can actually turn a child into a psychopath. Like, they've done experiments to where they have certain kids to where they didn't give them no type of attention, no type of mind stimulation, no type of nothing. And a lot of those type of kids grow up with a lot of mental illnesses like ADHD, maybe anxiety, depression. Like, they try to diagnose our kids with bipolar disorder or bipolar psychosis disorder. Bipolar, to me, I feel like a lot of these counselors shouldn't give it out, because it's really hard to diagnose anybody with that, because a lot of times these counselors go by symptoms out of their little textbook they learned from college. And half these counselors don't even really care about rehabilitating our people nor children. A lot of them just there to get their paycheck. There's a lot of counselors that I've seen to where they didn't help anybody. They just pretty much, if anything, the child went out worse than when he went in. So I'm like, dang, what you getting paid for? You know, you took an oath to help people. Like, this is serious situations when people need counseling and they come into you with problems that they need help with. You know, I really feel like there should be some kind of, you know, some kind of repercussions for counselors, you know, not taking their job seriously. That's not right. Like, this is a serious situation when you got people that's dealing with trauma or a mental illness. So, like I said, like, you really got to know the signs. Like, sometimes people could be going through abandonment issues and don't even know that they're going through it. Because sometimes you could have had what you think is the most normalest family. You could have had all the love you might have needed from your parents, but maybe the fact that your mom might have had another child, so when you was the only child, now you're not the only child no more, so she might have took attention from you that you was used to getting, and now all of a sudden you growing up with these symptoms of abandonment issues and you don't even know that's what it is until you sit down and take a real deep look at yourself. Now, a lot of times, a lot of the symptoms could possibly be with abandonment issues. You could have anger problems. Like, if you feel like somebody trying to do you wrong, in the sense of, like, maybe somebody might be trying to leave you that you really want in your life, and you feel like even if they're not trying to leave you, you think that they're trying to leave you. So you might get angry and you might leave them first. Or you might be in and out of relationship after relationship, because you figure, well, if I break up with them first, then they'll never leave me. So it's like you trying to have power in your hands, whereas before, when you was a child, you was kind of powerless. Or another symptom could be, you know, you could just break down crying out the blue. Because like I said in the last video, you seeing all these people go to family functions, or you might see somebody that got a cool brother that they just real cool with, or they can go see their mom to where their mom help them with their kids, or the mom might cook dinners and this and that, to where your mother don't cook at all. She don't barely want you around, and you have no family. So that plays mental chess in your head. So, you know, or you can deal with, like I said, disassociation. Like, disassociation, because I mean, I ain't gonna lie to y'all, I kind of deal with that a lot, and a lot of times people call me a cold motherfucker. Like, that, you cold, you ain't got no feelings, or this, that, and the third. It's not that I ain't got no feelings, because sometimes people could be doing these things and don't even know that they're doing it. So, like I said, like, for instance, like, let's just say I'm in a relationship, right? And maybe this dude is affectionate, so he want all the loving, like as far as hugs, or he might want to hold hands or this and that. But me, I'm not to say I'm not, but a person that's going through disassociation might not be used to all that cuddly wuddly stuff. They just not used to it. So they don't do those things, or talking and communication, whereas the guy might want to talk everything out, to where the person going through the association might not want to talk about it, because in their family, they didn't talk about nothing. If anything, all they probably did was bicker and fight, whether physically, verbally, or whatever. And another thing I can give too, that somebody told me a long time ago, and this can kind of help with healing. Like, they say, think of it this way: when you was a child, obviously you was helpless to where you couldn't do nothing to help yourself. But now that you are grown up, you're not that child no more, so you can help yourself nowadays. You know, you are a grown adult. Nobody can hurt you no more unless you let them. So a lot of things that's going on in your life, you know, really take a sit back and really evaluate yourself to think about, dang, is a lot of stuff that's going on in my life now, am I causing that? Because a lot of stuff is a cause and effect. And a lot of times, a lot of these abandonment issues or disassociations can take on a form of low self-esteem, to where even though you can be the beautifulest thing ever, you don't feel like it. Because a lot of times, a lot of our younger kids, they go through low self-esteem because they don't know who they are. And it's supposed to have the parents around, the mom and the dad, to where they're supposed to teach that child to love themselves, or they supposed to build the child's self-esteem up. But a lot of these parents nowadays, they tear their kids down. Like, for instance, let's just say this doctor, right? Like, he got a whole generation of doctors, but his son don't really want to be a doctor. Maybe the son wanted to be a rapper, but to the doctor, he like, that's ludicrous. Why would you want to be a rapper? You can't even rap. Like, you this and that. Like, well, if that's what your son wanted to do, you know, let him decide his own identity. Like, let him figure it out. I mean, at the end of the day, a parent do want, well, most parents do want what's best for their child, but in order for a child to learn their identity, they have to learn what they like or they don't like. In order for them to learn that, they have to be able to have a mind of their own. And that's another thing too that a lot of parents do, and been doing this for the longest time. A lot of times parents don't let their children have a voice. Now, grant, a child is supposed to be respectful of their elders, so if a child does want to express him or herself to the parent, they want to do it in a respectful way. But most parents don't even allow that. It's like, what I say goes. If I say do this, I said do it. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. They don't give the child an open discussion to express, well, you know, I really don't want to do this because, or can we do it this way because, or a lot of parents don't even ask their kids, how have your day been? And like I said, a lot of this stuff goes far as making sure the child feels special to you, you know? Because a lot of kids, like, you know, they just want to know that somebody care. And the main people they want to know that care first is most of the time their mom or their dad. So a lot of times kids will actually go out looking for it in the wrong way. Like a lot of times little girls. That's why if you have daughters, man, pay attention to them. Because a lot of little girls will go out there searching with these little boys, thinking because they open their legs to these little boys that's love, when indeed you disrespecting your temple. So, you know, a lot of times that is the classic symptom with young girls 18 and under, where when they not getting attention they need from daddy, or they ain't getting attention they need from mommy, guess who they gonna go to? These no good, sorry dudes that's gonna end up breaking their heart. So before you know it, the dude gonna play the young girl, and most likely she ain't gonna be smart enough to catch on to it that day. This ain't the way to look for love. So before you know it, she going from dude to dude to dude. And it's not to say that she a freak. She just got some issues that she need to resolve, whether it's with counseling or a good support system. And then with our young boys, the boys go to the streets. Like, they go to gangs, or they might, you know, start breaking the law or stealing or doing all kind of stuff, trying to get, I guess, status quo. Like, a lot of guys think status is from having a lot of money or having a lot of hoes and bitches or whatever. So that's how a lot of boys tend to try to, I guess, mask the fact that they didn't have the good upbringing or the attention from their parents that they should have had. And it really hurts, man. And if you a parent out there right now that got some kids that might be rebelling, take a look back and look at yourself to say, well, am I being the parent that I should be to this child? Is some of the things that I've done to this child has caused trauma to my child, to where he or she is acting out? Because I mean, we as parents, we don't always do things right, especially when you got your first child. Like, a lot of parents that had their first kid, that's pretty much learning stage. You've never had a child before, so you trying to figure out how to be a good mother or how to be a good father. So you don't know. So of course that oldest child done caught hell, you know, growing up, probably because you ain't know what you was doing, so it was trial and error. But you know, the kids ain't the only one that should be held responsible for their actions. Parents need to too, because the way a parent teaches their child determines the person that they grow up to become. And a lot of times a lot of these psychomaniacs or a lot of these crazy players or dogs or whores or a lot of these people that's just no good or just assholes, shit, I contributed to what they was taught coming up. And a lot of times these kids can learn this from their friends. They can learn it from, you know, who they hang around. But at the end of the day, most of the time it still can go back to the parent, because if you was putting in enough time with your child or enough effort with your child, they wouldn't have had the time to go out there and be, you know, so much influenced by these other people. Now, Grant, it's impossible for your child not to get influenced at all by nobody, because they do go to school. They are in other places where they're not around you all the time. But if you just teaching your child all the time and you're teaching with love, but there's a difference. You can teach them with trying to put fear in them to where it'll only stick out of fear to where they're going to rebel eventually when they get strong enough, or you can teach them with love to where it can stick more because they really feel and really bonded with you. Because a lot of times, if you teach a child with the fear method, like, of course they have to comply when they're much smaller because they're not strong enough to want to fight you. But as they become teenagers and they start growing up, going through puberty, getting their little muscles and all that, before you know it, that child gonna buck back at you. And I've been through this with my oldest son. My ex-husband actually been through this. Like my ex-husband's son, like he was in the military, so you know, most military people, of course, they got this tough persona because they used to organizations, they used to things going a certain way. So he was kind of always hard on his son. But when his son got to be probably like 16 or so, and the son used to say all the time through his childhood years, "Daddy, when I grow up, you gonna stop bullying me. I'm gonna get you." And he sure did. When he got about 16, and I think my ex told him to do something, he was like, "Go in there and clean them dishes right now." Like, you know, of course, like a daddy should. And the son was like, "I ain't doing nothing, Daddy." And of course the man gonna be a man, like, "What you say to me?" So he got in the son's face, and before you know it, the son balled that fist up, cocked back, and bow. And before you know it, my husband cocked back, bowed at his son, and knocked him out. And he almost thought he killed him. And he could have probably killed him because, you know, he was in the military, so he was working out, so I'm sure he had strength. But you never want to get to that point with your child. That's why I say you really gotta be in sync with your children and have some love and compassion, because that can really mess up their life. And I mean, if you really love your child, you know, love them enough to put in some time and effort and understanding to where you can look through these things, because a lot of this stuff is psychological. Like, I have an instance to where a homegirl of mine, you know, she got a mom to where the mom just, you know, the mom don't want to be bothered. Like, you know, she know how it was raising us, or not to say us, but raising kids. And it's like when she needed help, like I think she had got hurt really bad, so the mother didn't even go check on her daughter while she was in the hospital. Even when she got out the hospital, like the mother didn't show no concern. That broke her heart, because she like, damn, you know, out of all people to help me, why my mom can't be there for me? Like, you know, that really hurts. And all I'm trying to do is love her. Like, I just want to love her. And a lot of times, like, you know, people with abandonment issues, like a lot of people will try to fill the void with, okay, well, you might need a friend or a man. And the man might say, well, you know, we your family. Don't worry about your family. We can be your family. But truthfully be told, most people don't really want the family from other people. They want to forever be searching for love from their real parents. And a lot of people that's been in foster homes probably know what I'm talking about, because not all foster homes, I'm sure, are bad. So they might could have had a good foster home, and even though it was good, especially if they know that they're adopted, they still want to meet their real parents. Like, they want the love. They want to know where they come from. They want to know that they can be loved by who they came from. So sometimes, you know, sometimes it can take years. I mean, just because you an adult now, maybe your mom or daddy done got older, that don't mean that you can't mend a broken family. It's going to take a lot of work, and definitely probably a lot of work, because a lot of times people fall into where I don't know how to tell my mom how I feel. I don't know how to tell my dad how I feel, because if I tell them, they're going to yell at me, or we're going to get in a really bad argument, or I don't want to hurt their feelings, this, that, and the third. But then, if you never bring light to a dark situation, how can you fix it? Because the first step to fixing any situation is to acknowledge that it exists. And when you acknowledge that that problem exists, that is the first step to recovering any type of problem that you're having. I'm gonna have to take this in the truck because it's about to start raining. But I really need to cut this short. I'm hoping I don't have to make a part 3, which it looks like I might have to end up doing. But matter of fact, yeah, it's a part 3. We'll be going in 20 minutes. So, like I said, this topic is so huge, man, that there's no way I can cover this in no 10, 5, 3 minutes. A lot of stuff that people is dealing with is psychological. That's why I used to study psychological, like the psyche. I read a lot of books on it, and I study it because a lot of stuff is mind control, mind attacks. So if you want to learn, first of all, if you want to learn to heal yourself, or if you're going to learn to try to help other people, first of all, you got to know how humans think. You need to know how the psyche works, and you got to learn the mind. And a lot of times, a lot of stuff start with the subconscious, and then, you know, the conscious mind is where it's at. But the subconscious mind is really where you start, because, like, all right, let me explain it before I get off here. The subconscious, like, say you have a computer, right? And then for people that might know about computers, you have RAM memory, and then you got ROM memory. RAM memory on a hard drive or in a computer is random access memory. Random access memory, the memory can drop off as soon as you cut your computer off. As soon as you cut your computer off, the memory, like, is done. But the ROM, which is read-only memory, that memory is pretty much like embedded in the hard drive. So whether you cut the computer off or, you know, restart, whatever, when you cut the computer back on, that information is going to always be there. That's the same thing with the subconscious mind and the conscious mind. The subconscious mind, like, it's a certain way that something happens in your life to where it embeds into your subconscious mind. So that's a part of you and makes you who you are, and you carry that through your whole life unless you can figure out a way to reprogram yourself. But the conscious mind, like now, let's just say I just ate a burger. That's a conscious memory, because probably like a couple weeks from now, I'll probably forget what burger I even had. But let's just say I got beat up while eating that burger. Now that done got written into my subconscious mind, because that was a real huge event that done got embedded to where I can never forget that now. That's embedded. So it might create something to where now I'm more scared because of my surroundings, because I'm scared I might get beat up, or it might turn me into an angry person because now, like, ain't nobody gonna do that to me again. So it's going I'll promise you, if I do have to make a part 3, which I think I am, that's going to be the last one, because I don't want this to go on and on, because I had a couple other things that I wanted to talk about. But you know, it's always about time in the video. So if you made it this far, thank you very much. Thank you to all my new subscribers. I haven't gotten around to checking the messages and everything, because I haven't even been to sleep yet. So I got to get some rest, guys. And most likely I'll probably be getting to y'all messages probably tomorrow. So thank you everybody for watching and supporting me. Y'all make me feel so blessed. I love everybody. So time is the essence. Let's make better time of it. Let's love each other, not judge each other. And let's especially love our children, because they need you, man. Especially fathers. Now, there are a lot of good daddies that's doing their thing. You know, they taking care of their wives. They doing good. But for all y'all, you know, deadbeat fathers that never met your child, that just, you know, dog the kid out, or you dog the woman out when she probably was a good woman to you, this and that, you ought to be ashamed of yourself. And God don't like ugly, because karma is a B. What goes around definitely come back. And most likely, if you done not been there for your child, and then made that child and further have more abandonment issues, I'm sure you paying for it, because a lot of guys that do stuff like that, they ain't doing good for themselves. They probably going through all kind of hell, so they deserve it too, because that ain't right. That child didn't ask to be here. And a lot of guys that had it saying, well, she should have been on birth control. That ain't my fault. She ain't protect herself. Or that ain't my fault. She ain't get. Yes, that's the hell it is, because you could have been on birth control just as much as she could have. Or you could have got your balls snipped just as much as she could have got her tubes tied. So y'all both are responsible and should share the responsibility of raising a healthy child. So, alright y'all, I ain't gonna talk no more. I'm going too far, but I'm gonna make a part 3. So I'll be getting back with y'all in a little bit. So, deuces.